Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I thought it would be fun to do a quick flip through of my Hobonichi Cousin from last year. This was an interesting mishmash of uses of this planner, so I thought it'd be good just to do kind of a full flip through of it with the voiceover, just to allow me to kind of cut out all the bits that I didn't want to show in terms of pictures of people and things like that. The yearly overview, as you saw, I used that as an index, which I'll talk about in more detail later. The monthly spreads were my social media planning for most of the year until I went into One Book July, where I basically just planned out my Instagram posts and my YouTube. I also then experimented with using that as a bit of a log for any new releases in the shop, because I thought that would be quite nice to flip through and see what different styles of stickers I was releasing at any one point in time. At the start of the year, I was using the weeklies for planning. It was my main planner. I needed the space. I also enjoyed getting back to some creative stickering planning and using up a load of stickers that I had, and I still have absolutely loads of stickers. But it was nice just to plan in here again, try a few different layouts, get back to an old layout that I really liked, and I definitely needed the space. And you can see kind of how it evolved over time, so going from kind of full-on stickering to lots of to-do lists and tasks and very kind of productive, and I love both styles and they work for different times of the year. You'll then see that the weekly spreads tail off because I went back into full-time work, and so I only really use the weeklies for the rest of the year just to kind of dabble with stickers. So I think I literally use like one weekly layout for the rest of the year. And then I go into my dailies, where I had my goals set up at the start of the year, because that's always what I use the page for, that kind of turning the page to a new year. And then the dailies were a combination of commonplacing and journaling. So commonplacing is basically just me using it for a catch-all for all kind of notes. So it might be shop planning, blog planning, holidays, or a book that I've read that I want to make some notes on. And then the rest of the time I use it as a scrapbook. So funny pictures from the day, or screenshots, or, you know, ephemera of tickets and things like that, anything like that, it went in here. It produces an interesting mix. As you can probably see, I've got kind of like my inbox to-do list thing on one side, and then there'll be a picture of my day on the other. And I didn't really do many notes about the days. It was pretty much just kind of stick in the picture and maybe do a line or two. I'm not much of a journaler. It is something that I'd quite like to get back in, or to get into doing, but it's a slow process for me kind of to write about my day in a way that doesn't, I don't know, it's a weird one. I think you either love it or you hate it. I'm definitely in a place of I'll do a sentence or two and that's it. But as you can see, it kind of, particularly at the start of the year, it was quite full, because I basically used the days that I didn't have scrapbooking for other stuff. So as you can see, there was some watercolouring here and some notes. What you'll then see is, as we get towards the end of the year, because I don't need that many pages for my commonplacing a year, I'll probably only use maybe like 50 pages. So there'll be a lot more skipping towards the end, because there are quite a lot of blank pages probably in the second half of the year, which, as you will have noticed kind of looking at the index, the colours tail off. So there's lots of different colours because I colour code according to the subject on the index pages. And then kind of in the second half of the year, it's basically just my colour coding for scrapbooking, which was the light pink. So this is kind of around the time that I had kind of finished the commonplacing element, and we get into blank pages, and the rest is just kind of the pictures and the journaling. Although, as you can see, the kind of writing definitely tailed off towards the end of the year. What I did find is, because I was stuffing this full of stickers and ephemera, it was getting really difficult to write in towards the end of the year. And if you've seen any of my videos on the cousin from last year, you'll know that it was a constant frustration of mine, that trying to write on these pages, because of the wonkiness, because one side was really thick and one side was really thin, it just became really uncomfortable. And I'm super paranoid about my handwriting not being incredibly neat anyway, so this just made it worse. So I did find towards the end I was literally just sticking stuff in there, which is nice because it's still lovely to kind of flick through, but there are elements of trying to remember what I did, where I went, and hoping that the pictures kind of tell enough of a story. And yeah, that's kind of how I used my planner last year. I didn't like the mix of the empty pages with the scrapbooking, which is why this year I've moved into a TN for my scrapbooking. It means that I can just use the pages as and when, and they'll be in chronological order, but there won't be these weird empty spaces. Also, putting it in a TN notebook hopefully means that I won't have this issue where towards the end of the notebook it'll be kind of super thick on one side and be really difficult to write on, because obviously the pages in a TN, there's not as many, so it will just be a case of actually I can fill that and then move on to the next one, and it should always be quite a comfortable notebook to use. That's the hope, we'll see. But yeah, getting to the end of this, I definitely used it less towards the end of the year because, as you can see, it is getting quite a chunk on, and so I didn't find myself reaching for it and using it as much, and it was definitely just a stick in a few bits and pieces and move on and go tick, I've done my scrapbooking for the week. Hopefully you enjoyed this. It is just a very kind of quick flip through, but hopefully it gives you a bit of an idea of a completed Hobonichi Cousin and how you can potentially use it if you don't use or you don't like to use daily pages for actual planning, because maybe that's just not how you plan, or you don't have enough to feel like you warrant a daily page. You can definitely use it in this kind of style. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.